Hello and welcome to Top Marketers, the podcast where we explore the strategies, ideas, and people shaping the future of multifamily marketing. I'm Korina Stef with Multi Housing News, and today I'm joined by Ashley Cerasaro, Executive Vice President of Communications at AV, the hospitality-driven apartment brand from Korman Communities. Ashley has spent the past 14 years helping shape AV's brand, leading everything from public relations and resident communications to online reputation management, social media, and corporate messaging. Most recently, she played a key role in AV's national brand evolution and redesigned digital platform, initiatives that reflect the company's rapid expansion and changing renter expectations. In today's conversation, we'll dive into building a brand that evolves with its audience and the role of authentic storytelling in an AI driven marketing landscape. Ashley, welcome to our Top Marketers podcast.
Thank you, Karina. It's so great to be here.
It's really nice to finally meet you. Could you walk us through your career journey and how you first came into communications and marketing within real estate?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. So, my career started in journalism and education before moving into communications. I decided I was going to be a writer in the eighth grade. I read a lot as a child, and I had these incredible grandparents who I spent a lot of time with, and they were always telling me stories about their lives, family members that passed, places that shaped them. So, listening to their stories as a child and reading was really my first way of learning about myself in the world. I never envisioned myself working in communications or real estate. But you had Josh from Hill Point on here recently, and he said, most of us get into this industry accidentally. My story is the same. 14 years ago, I was working at a magazine on a story, and the PR company that represented AB at the time, and I'd worked with them before, they pitched AB to me for the piece that I was working on. And I thought the concept was unique. Naturally, I had a lot of questions. I met the leadership through that reporting process, and the rest is history. AB had 7 properties at the time, mostly in greater Philadelphia. They had just entered New Jersey, and they were trying to create brand awareness. I was living in New Jersey at the time. Our COO, Lee Ann Welsh, she's such a visionary. And I remember her asking me then, 14 years ago, if I would join their mission and become the voice of AB. And that's kind of been her nickname for me. I even changed it as my headline on LinkedIn a few years ago. But she really knew where AB was going and what it required. And she was looking for someone with a communication skill set to tell their story and create engagement across all stakeholders.
So you've been with App for 14 years, right from the start. They were the ones who opened up the whole marketing within real estate
Yep.
road to you.
Yep.
What initially drew you to the company and what has kept you there through its evolution?
It was the people. The people drew me to the company. Like I mentioned, I met Leanne, our COO. I also met our ownership, the Kormans. I met a few other members of the leadership team, and they were so incredibly warm. And everyone was so passionate about the brand and the culture. They just had that energy that, you want to just follow. And what has kept me here for the last 14 years is their values: hospitality, taking care of people, our residents, the team, the community, high standards, and the ability to do quality storytelling, which is what I love.
How has your understanding of what communication means changed over the course of your career? What's the biggest misconception you've had to unlearn about how people make housing decisions?
That's a great question. I would say early in my career, I viewed effective marketing communications as really understanding the different types of people who lived with us and then clearly articulating why AB is going to be a great home for them. Because there's so much content out there, right? Competing for our attention. So I really felt strongly about that connection point for residents and really taking that personalized approach in our marketing communications so that we were delivering that message in our digital marketing that we deliver on site operationally. And today it's still that, but the touch points have expanded significantly. So I'm really focused today on our brand voice integrity and that culture alignment as we grow, ensuring that every touch point reflects our culture and our Live Better promise, which is our mission statement. Josh talked about this as well, how there's been a shift from persuasion to trust in marketing. And I've always taken that approach. I think it's definitely because of my journalism background. I love this era of marketing because it is more aligned with journalism standards. Be curious, ask good questions, understand what matters to people, tell people stories, tell quality stories. And that's how you earn trust. To answer your question about misconceptions, I don't think I had to unlearn any misconceptions about how people make housing decisions. The marketing channels and tools have changed quite a bit since I started in this industry in 2012, but the reason has always been very personal and intentional. We moved several times growing up, as has my husband and I, since we got married in 2007. And there was always a reason and a set of criteria what we were looking for. So I had that personal experience. But again, the Kormans and Leanne, they've always put people at the center of how we operate. So when I was learning this industry on the job, really, it was always about having those one-to-one conversations with our prospective renters and our current renters and understanding what their life stage is and what they need. And it comes from a place of genuine curiosity and wanting to take care of people.
Throughout these years, Ebb has evolved from a more niche furnished housing provider into a national residential brand. From your perspective, what has been the most significant shift in how the company communicates during that growth?
So the Cormans have a cool history story. It's a family business, and the fifth generation is now actively involved in the business. For over 100 years, they've been developing and operating homes for people. Early in the family history, it was single family homes, and then they added row homes and then apartments. And then at one point, it was everything at once. It was really the 80s when they committed fully to apartments, but it's always been about quality and service for them. The flexible stay furnished apartment came from one-to-one conversations with prospective renters and recognizing that there was this middle ground between the year apartment lease and the weekly hotel stay. This was the 1960s in Philadelphia. So that was when the Corman started offering that optionality. And this was really innovative. Fully furnished apartments for stays of 30 days or longer. But they've always been apartment operators. So we haven't shifted how we communicate. We're just communicating on more channels because, like I mentioned earlier, the channel mix has grown tremendously and we need to meet people where they are. So some prospects are using YouTube and Instagram today as their search engines. And we also see the LLMs growing in influence, but we remain committed to connecting with our prospective renters and current renters in a personal way, both in person and digitally.
Everything is digital nowadays, so you have to be out there.
You have to be everywhere they are.
That's true. Your brand recently went through an evolution and launched a redesigned digital platform, right?
We did.
As the brand expanded across multiple markets and property types, what became harder and what became more important in maintaining a consistent voice?
From a leadership perspective, physically being there to uphold the brand standards, that was sustainable when we had up to 10 locations within a 2-hour radius of our leadership team to physically be there all the time. So what becomes important then is finding and developing more cultural leaders and then developing through onboarding and ongoing training programs so that those leaders understand the why. And repetition is so key. In my role today, I'm spending more time on team member engagement, whether that's developing new team members, both in culture and programs, and then scaling our communication programs so we don't lose that brand voice and our boutique approach to our marketing and communications. Residents should feel that ab experience at every location, whether they walk into Ab Florham Park in New Jersey or Ab Santa Clara in Silicon Valley. But that requires a complete clarity around our values and our service standards.
One of the most interesting shifts in housing is that digital platforms are becoming part of the leasing experience itself. How do you think about Av's digital journey today? Is it marketing, sales, customer service, or all three?
At AB, these functions are all partners. That's how I vision them. They're all partners in the process. Going back to our roots of connecting with the prospects to deliver a housing solution that meets their needs, that will always be at the core of what we do in the leasing experience. But since digital platforms are an important tool in the leasing process, we're really focused on quality storytelling on these platforms, building trust on these channels. Our website needs to function seamlessly and have a clear conversion pathway on desktop and mobile. That's 101, right? But we take it a step further and we're focused on consistent brand voice and visual identity, including touch points like chatbot and CRM communications. And we're sharing those resident stories, the reviews, and organic photo and video content on our website, on social media, because that's what's authentic. That's what future renters want to see. Our mission truly in digital marketing is to be a reflection of the AB on-site experience on these digital storefronts.
And where does communication have the greatest influence on decision making today?
Trust, 100% trust. It's the online reviews, the authentic social media content, industry rankings, awards. This is your brand reputation, and it's available digitally, and it could determine whether a prospective renter picks up the phone or schedules a tour. I'm really proud of our online reputation. We have a average Google rating of 4.75 across our entire portfolio. And that is the collaboration between the communications team and the operations, and our shared goal of delivering that exceptional resident experience. And then when something happens, because things do in property management, even when we're on top of our game, it's how you recover. It's being empathetic, receiving feedback as a gift, and not just responding to online reviews, but actually doing something about it, solving the problem. I'm also really proud of our resident survey program. We use Kingsley Surveys by Grace Hill. They're our partner. And we've been #1 in resident satisfaction in our tier for the last 4 consecutive years. And that is brand reputation that you have to earn because the rankings are based solely on resident survey results. Service has been the new marketing for some time now. And when you do the right things every day, that earns you trust.
I really like this. Service has been the new marketing today. I will keep this in mind. Ashley, you've helped oversee a redesigned digital platform that streamlines search, booking, and leasing. What were the key user behaviors or pain points that shaped that redesign?
Thank you for asking, because that's something that we're really excited about. It was 18 months in the making, and we launched earlier this year. There were several factors that drove that refresh. Number one, our expansion into new markets such as Tampa, Phoenix, White Plains, New York, Westchester County. With that, we saw a growing furnished apartment leisure audience, snowbirds, lifestyle relocations, and in all of our markets, an increase in individual furnished needs, such as folks in between homes, maybe displaced for insurance claims temporarily, marital separation. And with that, we're seeing online increased bookings for furnished. All three of these things are related in addition to how people are living and work today. A decade ago, most of our furnished apartments were being booked direct through our sales team, and referrals were coming from corporate clients or relocation companies. But now we're seeing more bookings directly on our website because they're finding us through Google search or LLMs, or they're looking at our communities on listing sites like apartments.com. So we designed the site to have that seamless user experience. Then there was the brand goal to have our website be that digital expression of the app in-person experience. So we added a lot more organic content, from our reviews to resident stories to photos and videos from our resident events.
The site looks great, by the way.
Thank you. We're very proud of it.
When communications is so closely tied to the customer journey, how do you ensure alignment across marketing, operations, and on-the-ground teams in different markets?
That is such a great question. And it's what I spend a lot of my time thinking about today. Our communications team is immersed at every level. So we're constantly collaborating with our local property leadership and sales team. We're not working in silos. We're having those strategic conversations every day about public relation campaigns, resident communications, social media content, survey feedback. And then we use that resident feedback and the intel from the local teams as our North Star. And it really keeps everyone focused on the same goal, which is attracting new residents to our community and then delivering that exceptional resident experience.
And what role does resident feedback and data play in shaping both messaging and experience design?
Oh, everything. Resident feedback is foundational to how AB operates. Our survey program, it helps guide decisions across communications, operations, and training to ensure that at the end of the day, we're delivering on that live better promise to our residents. So it all comes back to being committed to that exceptional resident experience every day. And many of our strongest performance metrics are tied directly to a culture of listening and continuous improvement.
Ashley, can you share an example of resident feedback that directly changed either the experience itself or the way AB communicates it?
Absolutely. I would love to. One example is how resident expectations around flexibility and their lifestyles have evolved. So we consistently heard that people wanted spaces that support work, wellness, and connection. So those three categories, and all within the same community. So that influenced the amenity strategy at projects like Ab Navy Yard in Philadelphia, where co-working spaces, private workout pods, and specialized wellness spaces became priorities. We designed in these 7 private workout pods at this community for those who wanted to be alone in the crowd. They want to be out in the community space, but also have some privacy to do their workout, whether it's lifting weights or yoga, meditation. And that's been the case for some time with our business spaces as well. So we have a menu of business spaces, from the larger executive conference room for a group or a team meeting to individual pods, so that if someone wanted to just take a phone call or a Zoom meeting like this. It's also influenced renovation projects at our existing properties. So this past year, we've renovated larger open spaces at our communities in Phoenix, Florham Park, New Jersey, and King of Prussia in suburban Philadelphia, to really create more of those private workspaces.
Could you tell me what is one area of communications, marketing, or resident experience you're paying especially close attention to right now?
I think, like everyone, AI.
Of course.
As a communications team, we want to leverage AI to work more efficiently and drive performance, but it's important that we retain our brand voice and our prospective renter and resident experience, and that flattening of uniqueness and authenticity that we're seeing, right, with some AI communications is not happening. We're also looking closely at the AI analytical tools within existing platforms. They synthesize the data points so quickly that you can turn those insights into action faster. I'm loving the new Intelligent Plus feature within the Kingsley surveys new dashboard. We rolled out their new dashboard right around Memorial Day, and it's called Performance HQ. And that was one of the driving factors of getting on the new platform quickly, was this Intelligence Plus feature. And it really synthesizes all of that resident sentiment quickly. So then our property leaders, as well as brand leadership, can quickly key in on that resident survey feedback to ensure that we're delivering that best resident experience.
Thank you, Ashley. Last but not least, what's next for Ab?
We're we're growing. I mean, it's such an exciting time in Av. We have added so many new locations to our portfolio in the last couple of years. We've doubled our portfolio since 2021. So it's been thrilling to be a part of that. We have broken ground recently on some new projects. This past May, actually, we broke ground in Denver, which is really exciting. So that's going to be a new market for us. And then we also broke ground on a community in suburban Philadelphia. So expanding our portfolio in greater Philadelphia. So it's just really, like I said, an exciting time at Av. And we're really focused as a leadership team, as we grow, maintaining that strong brand culture and taking all of these frameworks and programs that have served us well and have aided us in delivering that Live Better promise to our residents, and scaling them as we grow.
Ashley, thank you again for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And thanks to everyone for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to Top Marketers on your favorite podcast platform or on our YouTube so you never miss a conversation. Join us next time as we continue exploring the ideas and people shaping the future of multifamily marketing. I'm Korina Stef. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.